Hey, it's card number 127 from that 1953 Bowman color set. It is Dick Kryhoski of the St. Louis Browns. Little tip, if you want to take a photograph of a baseball player, or those of you that are fathers of kids playing Little League, if you want to take a photograph of your son or daughter playing baseball, all you have to do is get down on the ground and point your camera up at your kid against a blue sky, and the work is done for you. Like, there's nothing more classic than a low angle shot of somebody with a bat in their hand and a sky behind them. Dick Kryhoski, first baseman, who's got a back on this card that basically talks about how he bounced around from the Yankees to the Browns. So if it's card number 127, it must be session number 127 of Card Room Live. No, unfortunately for you, it's not a show. However, it is a hangout for fellow vintage collectors. Whether we have guests or not, we always are wasting time most of the time looking at and talking about cardboard, and through it all, we try to make it time well wasted. If you're here with us live, good evening to all of you in the chat. Welcome to my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to the commenters, to the folks from all over social media land. Don't be afraid to say hello. You're among cardboard friends. This is the live stream where everybody knows your name. And if we don't know your name yet, we soon will. If you're listening to this later, whether you are going to work or coming home from work, whether you are sorting cards or looking at eBay, rolling out meatballs, or like one of the commenters on the post today said they were making a really killer Italian meat sauce, I think. You might be doing that. You might be walking the dog or sitting on the john or putting the kids to bed, or perhaps wondering, like my buddy Doug DK Cardboard, whether or not you're just hanging on to baseball cards as a distraction to what would otherwise be an existential crisis about the human condition. You might be wondering if anybody's going to show an Eddie Waitkus card. Who knows? It might happen. You might be wondering what other kind of Mike foolery we're going to get into tonight. Whatever you are thinking about or wondering, I hope you do get something out of this hour of Mike foolery. If you want to get in touch or have ideas for future sessions, you can email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Bowman53_Alex, on X, 1953 Bowman Color, and on Blue Sky. I just joined Blue Sky looking for cardboard friends, and there are some cardboard friends on Blue Sky. My handle there is Bowman53, of course. You can always find that information located in the description below. Tonight's session of Card Room Live is brought to you by Fatima Cigarettes. Frequently you hear a man say, if Fatimas were sold at 15 cents, everybody would smoke them. I know I say that all the time. No doubt it's true, but it's easier said than done, for without the finer tobacco, the subtle delicacy made possible by a few cents more, Fatima would not be Fatima. Fatima, a whole whale of a difference for just a few cents more. And of course, you might also want to get some Fatima cigarettes because they have some great baseball cards in there. So we are ready to go. What's up to all the folks in the chat? Let's do a quick roll call. Ruben was banging on the door very, very early at 7:45. Sorry, Ruben, we don't open the doors until 8 p.m. And here's Scott asking if he's knocking on the door. And here's Don giving everybody trouble. Shout out to Don for a great video that he just posted about Scott. It's all about Scott. It's about Scott's singing. It's about Scott's balls. It's about Scott's. What else is in there? All kinds of stuff about Scott that you'll learn about, as well as some of his great artwork throughout the years. Appreciated that video, Don. Jacob's here. Phil Necrofan 35 is here. Mike Good is here. Drew Clean Cheap Shots is here. Drew, really appreciate your video of recent days. Mike, the Sports History Collector, is here. Ray from Philly's here. Baseball Time Traveler's here. Peter B. and Peacemaker cards, and Mr. Reese ND Card Ranger, the OG himself. Called Shot cards, Lonely Basement baseball cards is here. Mark's Dodgers cards is here. That's the guy that was making the Italian sauce. Mitchell White Sox fan card collectors here. Steven, guys, it's with a PH. Don't get it messed up. Beat Up Cards is here. Jay Hawker Vintage Cards is here. Warren D in the CLE. A whole bunch of fantastic folks are in here. Larry is here. Jackson Corbin. Dodger Card Collector, what's up? Mark Hoyle is here. Killabrew 3. Hey, it's a good, new, fresh appearance from Mike, this Baseball Card Live. Good to see you, Mike. It's been a while. Mr. Mookie Chilson is here. And hey, Everyday Card Collector Jason is here. That's sneaky, Jason. I got a couple of quick announcements I want to make before we get into it tonight. We do have some guests waiting, and they're chomping at the bit to get in here. But I have a couple things I wanted to mention. One is the Crummy hat contest. Some people have been asking me, is the Crummy hat contest still going on? The answer to that question is 100% yes. The Crummy hat contest is still going on. If you haven't been around and you're wondering what's the Crummy hat contest, all you have to do is take a photograph of your crummiest looking hat, the hat that you've got in your possession, that you've been wearing for too many years, that you've been using when you've been doing yard work or housework or like working on the car or just on the job or whatever. And like the hat is like barely recognizable. It's faded. It's dirty. It's fallen apart, but you haven't thrown it out yet. You still wear it. That's the hat I want to see. So all you need to do is take a photograph of the hat and email it to me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. I have so far gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 Crummy hats from this community. There are some really amazing hats that I've seen with stories. That's the other part I wasn't expecting. I've heard a lot of stories. In Drew's recent video, Clean Cheap Shots, he tells a fantastic story about his hat and shows the hat. Some other folks in here that have turned in their hats, Mookie, Don, Kurt from Brooklyn, a few other folks from the chat have turned in their hat. So if you have not done that yet, make a note for yourself. Must take photo of my Crummy hat and email it to me at Bowman53channel. I'm going to keep the contest going for maybe another couple weeks, see if we can get some more Crummy hats. And there will be a future session where I go through each of those hats. We take a look at them, and we vote on those hats. And there's going to be a prize. There's going to be a baseball card / maybe hat related prize. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But wanted to make sure I mentioned that. So the Crummy hat contest is still open. Make sure you get your Crummy hat photograph sent in. Mookie, if you're trying to get put in timeout, you're doing pretty well, but you're going to have to do a little bit better than that. Okay, so it's time to get into tonight's session. I've already wasted enough time. We've got 3 guys waiting in the wings here, and these guys are all excited to get in here. I'm excited to get them in here, and some of these guys are new to Card Room Live, and I'm always excited to bring in new collectors, whether they're on YouTube or other places, or maybe they're not even on social media. It doesn't really matter. Everybody's a collector in here, and it's fun to hear from new folks and see their collections. So I'm going to bring in this gentleman because he's tried to come in here before, wasn't able to for some technical reasons, but it's working today. This is Andrew, Low Grade, No Grade Vintage. Andrew, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Andrew, first of all, great hat, and I like your shirt too. We are not wearing the same shirt, but I like your shirt. It's cool. And Andrew, so you don't have a channel, right?
Correct. Yep. I've been a lurker here for over 2 years, and I think probably, I don't know, I would call it 6 months ago, started to comment. And then what was it, about 2 months ago? Tried to join the live stream, as you pointed out, and did not work out. So I'm looking for redemption here today.
Okay, yeah, and well, we're here, we're working, and you don't have a channel, but you have a fantastic name that like lends itself to a channel. Low grade, no grade is a great name for a channel. So glad you're here and looking forward to seeing your cards. Next up, we've got Jay, average vintage collector. Jay, what's up?
Hey, everybody.
Good to have you, man.
I'm glad to be here.
So remind me now, how long has it been for you now having a channel? Because you've got a channel up and running.
Yep. I've been going since about the end of December. So
okay.
About 6 months, probably closer to 5 months.
Okay. And like before that, you were active in the community like in other ways, right?
Yeah, I was commenting on a lot of channels and just kind of, it was under a different account. So when I started up my channel, I made a different account under a different email. So it was kind of, I had to transition over and kind of just tell people, hey, this is who I am. This is me. So been out here for a while, but I don't know, probably about a year and a half or so, commenting, watching videos.
Okay, fantastic, awesome. All right, and then we got another guy. He's new. He's a little nervous. This is going to be his first time here, and he's a little shy about. But I was able to like twist his arm and get him to come on here. It's this guy. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little afraid to talk in front of the camera, so please bear with me.
Yeah.
As long as Scott is here as my emotional support animal, I'll be good.
I'll be sure to not share any of the taunts from the jokers.
I'm watching the chats. If I'm not getting taunted, then it's no fun. So, this can be an everyday card collector roast. I'm good with that.
Yeah, Jason, I was realizing it's been a while since you've been on here. It seemed like for a while there you were on here a lot.
Yeah, on this and anywhere else I could get on it when I first started my channel.
Yeah.
Don was getting offended. I was taking the crown of Jason live stream, and Don said, "You'll never be me." I said, "I can't be Don. No, that's impossible."
Right. Well, and hey, Mr. Reindeer Studios is doing his duty as
Thanks, Scott.
the wrench holder. Sharing some
Thanks,
channel.
Scott.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I am excited. I'm excited to be on with Andrew. I don't mean to cut you off, Andrew. I think it's awesome that you're on. I know Jay personally, and I know Alex personally. I think it's so cool that you jumped on. So I'm excited to see what you got.
Yeah, excited to be here too.
Yeah. So let's get into it, guys. So we're gonna do another card with stories. For anybody that's new to Card Room Live, or if you've forgotten, because we always do things a little messy here. The idea is I ask these guys to pick out 3, 4, maybe 5 cards. We'll see how much time we have, and share something about that card that would be a little interesting story. It could be about the card itself, or the player, or some historical thing, or maybe something about how they got the card, or some sort of connection to like their personal hobby history to that card. And we're just going to kind of take turns. I'm actually going to sit this one out and let you guys go, because I end up showing my cards too frequently, and I want to see some other cards. So Andrew, since we've been kind of building up to getting you on here and had that sort of false start, let's start with you.
Yeah, no pressure, right? So let me start with showing a family heirloom here. And this is the reason, or this is the ignition that kind of got me into buying vintage. So I kind of switched from collecting ultra modern at the time. So that would be the 90s insert era. And after this is when I started to collect vintage. And we'll go with this. That's a joke. So.
Oh man. It wasn't a joke to me. I was like, that was really heartwarming.
So I'm actually going to break a rule here and show not a card, but it's kind of a card. So this is a picture of my grandpa. He passed away before I was born, and I got this family heirloom when I was actually mowing the grass for my grandma. So back in the day, I would get a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. But one of these days, she gave me, something special. And I remember digging this out of an old coffee can. And it was a picture of my grandpa. And she said, flip it over. and she told me the story. So let me give you the background to what's on the other side of this military picture. So my grandpa, like many others during the time, served in the Army during World War II. And he was known for having very poor eyesight. So, but for some reason, he was able to pass all the physical tests, and he was destined for frontline infantry, overseas. But during, I guess it was some sort of training, whether it was, I don't know actually, but he fell and hit his head and ended up getting a concussion. And they had to reevaluate his vision, and he ended up failing. So he was no longer deemed fit to be shipped overseas. And as my grandma put it, the military had no idea what to do with him. They have a soldier here, but we can't ship him overseas. So what can you do? So they actually sent him up to West Point, and what he ended up doing was training some of the soldiers up there. Just primary shooting, stuff like that. And during his time up there, one of the most famous baseball players of the time, if not the most famous baseball players of the time, came to visit. And he was tasked with escorting him throughout the facility, throughout the base. And any guesses as to who that might be?
Wow.
Ted Williams?
Not Ted.
World War II. Spawn?
Nope.
Yogi?
None other than the Yankee Clipper, Chilton Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, wow.
my
Okay,
gosh.
that's a big deal. That's cool.
So sorry about the lighting here, guys. I'm trying to do my best just to show it.
No,
but,
you can see it though. That's incredible.
That's
and
awesome.
You can see just the difference in his signatures. And Alex, I know you have a signed baseball, right? Do you
Yeah.
know when that was signed? Like what era?
I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was like it's definitely post playing days.
Okay.
Yeah, but like maybe in the 50s, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's another example of post playing days. And you can just kind of see the difference in his signature, right? Especially with the G's, how, they're just more fluid, more full, during his, 1940 signature. I did some digging because we all know that Joe was then moved up to Hawaii, right? And he was playing ball up there. So I did some digging and I found an article that, he did visit and play up at Doubleday Field in 1944, shortly before he was moved off to Hawaii. So I don't know if this is when, my grandpa got his signature or if it was some other time. But that's my story.
I mean, I was gonna say, wow, that's so great that you got that photograph of your grandpa, and I would that would have been enough. But then,
right?
Holy shit! Yeah,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
Jay, you're next.
All right, it's tough to follow that one up. I don't have anything to top that one, but
I'm sure you do.
I kind of have a bunch of cards here, and the theme for them all is the first. They're a bunch of firsts. So the one I'm going to show first is, so when I first got into vintage, I've only been collecting vintage for about 2.5 to 3 years. Before then, I was a modern guy, lots of modern stuff. And I got out of modern right at the beginning of COVID, just when it went crazy and prices went all over the place. So I got out of the hobby completely for a little bit and then got back into vintage. And the reason I never collected vintage to begin with, because I didn't think I could afford anything in vintage. I thought that everything was, super high price. And honestly, I didn't really know a lot of the players. I was a common day guy, kind of guy here and now. I wasn't really looking back. I knew the big names, but I didn't really know too much around that. But after I had gotten in, I was having such a great time, but I never in a million years thought I was going to ever own a Mickey Mantle. And I went to a local card show and I was walking around and I said, man, there's just no way. And then you get to be in the hobby, into vintage for a little bit. You realize, yes, these are definitely attainable things. So I found a really beat up raw Mickey Mantle card in a case of a dealer, got it for a great price. I sent it in for grading. I didn't care about the grade. I wanted it protected. I wanted to display it a nice way. And that's really the only reason I grade cards anyway. So I didn't think it was going to get a grade because it got some writing on the back, but it ended up getting a 1.5. And that is the 64 Mickey Mantle. I got this card for a really good price. It's seen better days. It's off center, but it's a really nice card. But on the back, you can see someone wrote up there and changed the home run number from 15 to 16.
Nice.
But it's cool, and it came back with this card will forever be important to me. It's one of my few and only Mickey Mantles. I'm not a Mickey Mantle collector by any means, but it was that feeling, that going back in and just going, I'm going to have a Mickey Mantle in my collection when I just never thought in a million years I would ever have a Mantle. So it means a lot to me. This card will never, ever leave my collection. And no matter what Mantle I may get in the future, it's never going to top this one. This one is going to be, this is the first one. This is the one that's going to mean, the most to me. And just a special card in my collection. Just, when you come to terms and the realization that, yes, this is possible. And then, going from there, anything is possible. You just got to, look into it. You got to do it and pull the triggers. It was great. It was bright time, right place. And I'm happy with the way that it looks. And I can show off on, stuff like this.
Right?
Yeah. It's awesome. Perfect.
Absolutely. And, hey, that card looks great.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I like that it has that look to it where it's seen better days, but that's the whole point, right? Like that's, that shows the history. It's a high character card. That's kind of how I refer to those ones. So.
Totally. And, there are plenty of folks in the hobby who will say, okay, it's a Mickey Mantle card, whatever. But I disagree, because even if you're not a Mantle fan or you're not trying to get the run or whatever, it's always exciting to hold a Mickey Mantle card and feel like you're getting into that part of the hobby in the 50s and 60s and even before that part. And when it's your card and you own it and, like you're saying, it's that sort of entry into collecting vintage, that makes it so much more special. So
yeah,
that's great. All right, Jason.
Yeah, so the first one I grabbed, I kind of set a theme on the first couple of cards that I was going to show as far as just how my collecting has changed, right? So you just finished off with Jay, and Jay's been collecting for 2.5, 3 years vintage, and you talk about your first Mickey Mantle and jumping into Golden Era and discovering that you can, in fact, attain those things, whether it's a lower grade or not. For most collectors, that doesn't even matter. I feel that when you're collecting vintage, and it's almost a topic within itself, is you go through these steps and changes throughout your collection. Some people may only focus on one. I'm a pretty broad collector. I claim myself as collecting everything. But as of late, if you follow my channel at all, my thing is pre-war. I've kind of took that turn into the pre-war era. And even so, because I'm the quote unquote everyday card collector, collecting on a budget is important to me. And I find that the oversized pre-war comes in at a value when you're looking for particular players or particular items. If you're looking to complete a run of a particular player, a lot of times that oversized stuff comes in at a bargain in comparison to some of the other standard cards that you'll see. So the story behind this particular card, not a huge story, nothing real massive. First time I saw it was on a friend of mine's channel. Fell in love with the image instantly. I've just shown this on my channel not too long ago because it just came in last week, and I am so jacked to have the card. I'm going to show it as many times as I possibly can. So it's my 1936 National Chickle leather finish Jimmy Fox. So it's an absolute beautiful image. I just fell in love with this the minute I saw it. The first time I saw it was on Aaron Value Vintage Cards on his channel. Blank back. Sorry, guys. Kind of tilted there. Blank back, but the image is absolutely stunning. And that's what draws me to a card more than anything. Obviously, I want certain players, but that image is amazing to me. It is oversized, obviously, as you can see. I've been pounding the drum on oversized pre-war since I started to get into it. You can get that at a fraction of the price of this 33 Gaudi, which is, more of a mainstream set. And you can find things like that all over pre-war. So I see the maturation or the change of a lot of people when they are here. I don't want to get into pre-war. It's a rabbit hole. It's huge, and there's too much out there, and it's too expensive. And it's no different than jumping into vintage period for the first time. Your 50s, 60s, golden era stuff, 70s for that matter. There's stuff out there that's attainable and fantastic, and you can get it at a price that makes sense, and that's an example of it. I think I might, I didn't give the price when I showed it, but it was under $200. So if you go look up a 33 Gaudi of Jimmy Fox and a 2 or a 3, I can guarantee it's probably gonna be more than $200. So
Yeah.
yeah. So, and this is an actual photo. There are things again. I love the low grade, no grade name that Andrew has. I'm becoming to accept. You can see the tape marks.
Yes.
At the top and the bottom and the side, and that doesn't bother me in the slightest. Actually provides a discount to me, and it doesn't interfere with the image at all. So I think it's just perfect. That is perfect for the collection and right for the taking. So, funny story behind it is, and I just thought of this now. I had a young fellow who's been following my channel. He's local to the Chicago area. He introduced himself to me at a local card show, and we've since become friends. And we've gone to a couple shows together. And I did the video about a week and a half ago or a week ago on this particular card. And he texted me instantly. He said, I was the underbidder on that. And I said, well, you know what? We need to keep in touch because we were bidding each other up. We need to figure that, we need to talk to each other because, I could have saved about 15 or 20 bucks, or you could have saved 15 or 20 bucks based on that. And we just kind of got a laugh out of that. And I had literally found that out a couple days ago, which I thought was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I told you, Jason, in the comment when you made that video, it immediately made me think of Card Room Live, because I would say over the past couple of years, a lot of times if I don't have a guest on and it's just me, we'll inevitably go on eBay and I'll just start asking people like, what do you guys want to look up? And sometimes it'll be rare stuff, or just, stuff that's not everyday common stuff, or there'll be a theme like maybe catcher cards or equipment or something. And I lost track of how many times we would just sort of sit on that image. We'd look it up and be like, yeah, that Jimmy Fox image is so fantastic. So all these years later, you're the first person to ever show it and actually have it, and not just have it be like a random eBay image. So it's nice to see it actually in person.
Yeah, I love it. Again, I can only say it so many times. There are deals to be had out there if you're afraid of getting into pre-war, because I've specifically talked to people who said, it's too overwhelming. It really is. It's no different than the first time you were looking at Mickey Mantle's or the first time you were looking at Willie Mays cards. It's all, once you dive in, the water's warm. Come in and have a good time.
Right. Absolutely.
Just be careful because Scott might pee in the pool.
You always have to watch out for that. Real quick, I'm going to show one card tonight. I want to show a card for our buddy Orlando, 1953 Bowman Color Mini Minoso. Whenever I look at this card, I definitely think of Orlando. Orlando has a nicer copy that Minoso actually signed, but I wanted to show this card. Thinking of Orlando, for the past, gosh, I don't know, 2-3 years or something. I think if you go back and look at any Card Room Live video, within the first 5 minutes, you'll see Orlando saying, "What's up, everybody?" And so Orlando's like a big part of Card Room Live, and he's a big part of the community. And I think we're all glad to hear that he's hopefully on the mend and doing good. And just wanted to throw some love out there to Orlando. And hope to see him back soon.
Absolutely. He's on the mend. From what I hear, he's on the mend. And, it's going to be a process. But, all things considered, if it works out well, he'll be at the National. For those who are going, you will get to see him again, hopefully. So
absolutely. All right, Andrew, back to you.
All righty. So I'm going to be showing a couple cards here. So I'm just going to kind of fly through them. But
sure.
Overall topic here is, I think there's many videos, there's many, a lot of content out there where we discuss the card for you, whether that is eye appeal, grade, price, etc. But we don't really get into buying from the right person. So it's more buying the right card for you, but not buying from the right dealer, right? So I wanted to get into a couple, just spotlight a couple dealers that I've met in the past few years that, they're good guys. And I just wanted to point them out who they are and just kind of show off some cards that I got from them. So about a year ago, though, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and when I got back into collecting, I'd always check on just the card prices of the 55 Clemente. It's just because that is his favorite player, and that's his Grail card. So got back into the hobby, and coming off of the COVID highs, we just didn't think it was the right time to pull the trigger. Right? He wasn't really comfortable getting into a card at X price. Right? Over the years has gone down, so we finally decided to pull that trigger. And just because he was recently diagnosed, we wanted to give him a pick me up, right? And it was his birthday, so after kind of going through a couple years at the Philly show, I decided that I wanted to get the card from a specific dealer, and it's Howard Chasser, and he's going to be on for collectors at 9 o'clock, I believe. So. Yep. Wanted to show that card. Now, granted, it's on SGC here, so I don't know how this is going to show here, but this is his card.
Great.
Perfect.
So this is his card here, and once again, that's from Howard Chasser. A few other cards here from other vendors, other dealers. Once again, at the Philly show, this would be Chocolate Town Cards based out of Hershey, Pennsylvania, and a couple cards from them. So
nice.
Double header.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
Oh wow.
So here's the catch with this card.
Oh.
It just came out.
Oh no.
Magic.
It's not a good catch.
So apparently this was bought from an older gentleman a number of years ago, and he did not like the holder, so he separated it from the holder and he mounted it. So ended up getting this at a pretty decent price. And if you can kind of see now, this was a PSA 3, but you can see the crease down the center here. Definitely would not grade a 3 today.
Yeah.
A couple more cards here, and this is somebody that we all know from this community. That would be Brian B. Roth. So
yes.
Just showing off a couple cards here that I got from B. Roth over the past couple years.
Is that the 50 spawn? Was that the 50?
It is. Yep,
Okay.
That's the 50. Yep.
Very cool.
Red Heart.
Beautiful. Green. I love that green.
And got the 49.
Oh, great. I've been looking at that card. That's great.
And
yes, iconic.
And lastly here, so this vendor was not present at the last Philly show, but he was in December, and that would be Matt from Providence. And I believe that he's been on a couple channels before. Very nice guy. Spoke with him a bunch, and he helped me out with this purchase here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He was he on Jake Waxpack's Wisdom's channel, or he talks to him quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
He was on Junk Wax Hero, and I believe there was another one as well. But the reason that it's a 1 is you can kind of see this is the destroyed back variety here. So
okay, I was gonna say because that's not a 1 from the front at all.
No.
Yeah. So let me show it one more time. So
yeah, beautiful,
awesome.
All right, that's what I have, guys.
Beautiful,
fantastic. All right, Jay, you're next.
All right. Okay, so when I got here, and since Jason opened that can of worms, talked about pre-war, it took me a while. When I first dove in, I was a 70s kind of, 73 set was a big thing for me, and I was really focusing on a lot of sets, and not sets, but a lot of cards from the 70s. And then in the 60s, I really touched the 50s until just recently, but I was at a card show, real small. It's like a monthly show here, lots of modern. There's like 3 vintage tables. And I just stopped in on a whim. There was a modern dealer who it was like a beacon in the middle of his setup of this old card, just like, wow, that's not modern. What is that card? And I asked to see it, and I take a picture. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is from. Well, it's a Diamond Stars. It's a National Chickle Diamond Star card. So I asked him about it. I said, what set is it from? Man, I really don't know. All right, well, how much are you asking for it? Man, I don't even know how I got it. How much? And I'm like, I don't really know, So I end up, we talk about it. He pretty much said that he wanted it just gone out of his collection. So that was this card right here. And that was that was my entry into the world of Diamond Stars. So I kind of like look up the set, and I'm like, man, this is just a gorgeous set. I absolutely love this set.
Yeah.
And I decided from that point on, I wanted to do the Hall of Fame run. It is going to take me a very long time to do it. And up until Strongsville, I only had 2 in my collection. So I've doubled that now. But excuse me, this Carl Hubble, that was the first one. And honestly, I'm so glad that I found it because really, there was a lot of players that I just didn't know about from that era.
Yeah.
And reading about them and learning things, and it just, just unbelievable stuff. So that was kind of like put my toe in the water. I've got another one I'll show, later on, but that is, this one was the first one in that series. So it was awesome. But the guy just couldn't, he was like, dude, I just want it gone. I think I ended up paying $120 for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jay, do you follow Mitchell, White Sox fan and card collector?
Possibly. I don't know.
If you get the chance to look him up, he's a wealth of knowledge on the Diamond Star set.
Yeah.
Oh, a ton of knowledge.
Absolutely. I'm all in on that stuff. So
he's working on the entire set, and he knows a lot about it. He was on actually Mike Moynihan's channel. I think Cardboard.
It was like 3 weeks ago. I just watched that episode. I think.
Yeah.
The deep dive into the
Golden Age of Cardboard.
Yep.
Yeah. He's got a ton of knowledge. He's a great guy too.
Yeah.
He's probably in here right now. So
he was earlier, I think.
Yeah. You guys got to connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Fantastic card. All right, Jason.
All right. So I was talking about how your collection shifts and I see a lot of people, I'm, as I mentioned before, I'm kind of broad. So, people are going to Strongsville, people are going to the National, they have lists, they have specifics of what they want to get. I purposely do not do that because I feel that it deters me from looking at everything and picking something else up. So because I'm not a specific collector and I collect it all, I do that on purpose. That being said, there are a couple things I'm working on. I'm working on the 56 Hall of Fame run, kind of working on the 59 Hall of Fame run. I'm working on a White Sox run that I've been working on since, I don't know, before I had my channel. Basically, I wanted to get the rookie card or the first card in a White Sox uniform of every player who's played for the White Sox and has been in the Hall of Fame or played for the White Sox for at least 5 years and is in the Hall of Fame. So I love you, Don. so that being said, I strayed away from that. I strayed away from putting those restrictions on myself because there are other cards of those particular players out there that are better. Or that I like better. So it goes back to Andrew saying, he was rattling off some of the dealers that he enjoys dealing with. And my thing is, if you can buy a card from a friend, that's even better. So I'm showing my 1922 E120 Harry Hooper.
Yeah.
So prominently known for playing with the Boston Red Sox, but did play for the Sox for 5 years. His first year with the White Sox was in 1921. Which was the card I was originally going to get. This is a 1922, and I actually like the look of the card better. So I went ahead and broke my own rule and just said, this is a better looking card. This is what I want to get. I know most of the guys are familiar with Harry Hooper. He was part of the $1 million outfield for the Boston Red Sox from like 1910 and 1915 with Tris Speaker and Duffy Lewis. So that's what he's prominently known for, but had a good career with the White Sox as well. And was an important part of the White Sox history in my mind. So someone I definitely wanted to collect. But I love these. I love these E-cards. I think they're phenomenal. So it's definitely one that I wanted to add. I still might get to 21, but now that I have the 22, I'm pretty satisfied with it and happy with it.
That's awesome, Jason. I think if you go back and watch the Ken Burns documentary, especially like those first maybe 3 episodes, Harry Hooper comes up a lot. Like
Yes.
they're not necessarily talking about him, but like they have a lot of quotes from him because I guess he was just keeping a journal,
Right.
and writing about a lot of it. And I'm sure he's also probably in the glory of their times.
At the times, right? He's also because I can't spell and I'm not that educated when it comes
Oh,
to
right.
important
Okay.
stuff
True.
like
Well, you
that.
can watch the documentary. So
He's
yeah.
also
He's the documentary. So
he's also part of Mr. Burns' team from The Simpsons when he's trying to put a softball team together. Harry Hooper was one of the players.
Yes.
So it was Three-Finger Mordecai Brown. Us uneducated people down. I gotta watch The Simpsons for my baseball reference. But yeah,
Whatever it
definitely a
takes.
prominent player. You are correct because I have actually seen that, and that is correct. So
Right. All right, Andrew, back to you.
Okay. So I'm going to show a couple cards here as well, and wanted to show the cards that I acquired when I was a teenager. So they just kind of have a little bit more sentimental value than the cards that I've picked up in the past few years here. So wanted to share this one here. Let me just get my.
Oh man.
So this is the big guy. So this is the big guy here. Have you ever walked into a card store and like in a display case, like you just kind of get tunnel vision, once you see a card? I can still remember like the same feeling when I got this card when I was like 13, just seeing it in this case.
You were 13?
And yeah, it was
Okay.
13. Yeah, so this was a present. I think it was, I believe it was, hey, you're a present for congratulations, you're going into high school. I think it was a combo of that plus also like a birthday, something like that as well. So and this card, it was a big card back in the day, but it's not like what it is today. I mean, Ted Williams, I had the choice between this and either it was a Mickey card or a Ted Williams card, and of course I went with this. I didn't think there was it was a no-brainer, right? So and I've had it, ever since here. So,
Can any of you guys
here.
remember ever like what you got for going to high school or anything like that?
Yeah,
the answer's no.
I got to thank God you got there.
I close to go to school.
I certainly wasn't looking at Jackie Robinson cards.
Oh my gosh!
I will say I did help pay for it though. Okay, so I will say that. Also, so let me bring this up here. I went to Cooperstown, and you kind of see the time and date stamp here. So it's July 06. So I just graduated high school, and for some reason, I decided to take a bus trip with my parents to Cooperstown. I can't believe I was doing that when I was 18 years old, considering that I had a girlfriend at home, and I was leaving to go to college, and I chose to go on a bus trip with my family. But these are the cards that I got. So
beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful card.
And that is the gray back. And then
oh man.
Wow, 52.
Awesome.
Nice.
You can kind of see the roller line
too.
Yeah, but do you see the roller line across his chin?
Yeah.
You can see that. And what I cannot show is that I also met Willie Mays and Ernie Banks there as well and got a signed ball, but my dad decided to sell those. So, but hung on to the cards though.
Okay.
Awesome cards, man.
Sounds like you made the right choice. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I know.
Yeah.
I think so as well.
Okay. Yeah. That's a hell of a trip. Okay. Jay, go ahead.
All right. So went to Strongsville for the first time this year. Now, Strongsville, biggest show for me by far. And it's not that big of a show, but for me, I don't go to very many shows. There's 2 local ones around here that are they do 2 a year. Those are the biggest shows I go to, maybe like 70 tables, if that. So Strongsville was a really big show for me. Number 1 card on my list. I went in there with a list, and there was 1 card that I wanted. So I'm thinking, from everything I've heard, there's going to be, this card is going to be everywhere. I walk in, first table I go to, I'm there for 15 seconds. There's the card. Now, I was with my wife. I brought my wife with me. I saw in the comments, "Oh, don't bring your wife. I'm going to tie this in. This is all going to come through." Okay. So,
she was the only reason in the room. You were all over the map.
Yeah. So,
thank God she was there to calm you down.
So I go in. I said, "Oh, there it is. There's the card." And there's already a guy at the table, and he says, "Oh, which one are you looking at?" I said, "I'm looking at that one." He says, "Yeah, me too." So his name was Dylan. We actually met later on. He looks at it. 10 minutes. He's looking at it. The table right next to it has 3 of the same card. I'm going, all right, there's 3 more. But one of them is pretty beat up. The other 2 were nice, but they're a little out of my price range, I thought. So he ends up taking that one. We spin around the rest of the show. There's only one other that I can find. It's at Ash's table. It's a really high grade. There's no way I'm in the market for this. So the whole show, I start just deteriorating. I ran into Jason, and Jason says, "Oh, what'd you get?" And I got this handful of cards. He's like, "Dude, you are just making a count." I was like, and he went to my wife and says, "You have got to rein him in again." So 5 times I circle back to the guy's table that had the 3 of them, and 5 times I'm looking at him. Now there's 2 of the same player. And I'm looking at both, and he's telling me, "Oh, I'll cut you a deal. You know, this is this." I said, "Dude, I can't do both. I've spent the majority of my money at this point. There's just no way." And so he says, "Well, which one do you want more?" And I picked the one that I didn't come there for. And my wife says, "Listen, that's not the one that he wants. The one that he wants is that one right there. What's the best we can do?" And he says, "All right, listen. This is the best I can do." And I ended up buying both cards. He gave me a killer deal, and she was the one. Had she not been there, because she was the one that said, "Listen, how much money do you need?" And I said, originally, I need X amount of money. And I gave her, I'm emptying out my pockets. I said, "Here you go," just like handing it over, all crumpled up, fallen, just unorganized. "How much did you say you had?" And I said, I had this. She says, "No, you're like $300 short." And I was like, we already agreed, and she's like, "All right." So without her, here she is, she came prepared and bailed me out. But the card I got, again, going back to that Diamond Star set, this is the kind of card, this is the card I went there for. And that's
Wow.
That was the one that I wanted. Really, honestly, I don't think that I would have been able to get this had she not been there. But yeah, I am so freaking pumped to have this in my collection. And honestly, I didn't bring it down with me, but the other one was a Gaudy Premium Hank Greenberg as well. And pretty much that was thrown in for nothing. He pretty much gave that was just kind of a throw in, but awesome. I'm really excited to have it. So I've doubled my collection. I have 4 of these now. I also have the Rick Farrell, and I picked up a Pie Trainer while I was at Strongsville as well. So that one is super, the first card show, got my Target card, couldn't be more happy. And that was, I told you guys backstage, I saved up like 8 months to go to this show. and that was really hardly buying a thing in between.
Yeah.
And that was the payoff, right? Like that was coming home with that and a bunch of other stuff. Like it was totally worth it in the end.
A bunch of other stuff. You couldn't even get your hands wrapped around it. I saw it for 5 seconds, and I'm like, "What'd you get?" And he goes like this. I'm like, "Jesus!" I'm like, "This is your first day here." Or you were
I went a little.
day, right?
I went a little bonkers. I got to say, I went off the rails. I don't know what would have happened had I been there alone, but I know I probably wouldn't have walked away with that. I probably just would have walked away with just a whole bunch of, I mean, it was everything I walked away with. I'm more than happy, but that I'm just glad that I was able to pull that off.
I'm pretty certain if your wife wasn't there, you might have been walking home because you would have had no money to get home. So
I would have traded the car. The car would have stayed there, and I would have.
Right.
Hey, can you come pick me up?
No, it was awesome to see. For those who went to Strongsville the year before, you've heard it on several channels and several. Steven picked up the big card, happened to be the card that Andrew showed, the 49 leaf Jackie. And his excitement was infectious. And so that was I got to see that again this year with Jay. Like he couldn't even it was like he was just in a whole nother world. And I said, "I'll see you at the get together, man." Like he was, so it was a lot of fun to see that. That's always fun to see.
Yes, absolutely. And you have a great story to go along with it. Awesome. Jason.
Yeah. So my next card is basically, I pulled a couple cards out for stories of other content creators. So I went down to or went out to visit my good friend Chris from Missouri and Billy Ball game last year. I was actually heading to Lawrence, Kansas to deal with my daughter. She goes to college at the University of Kansas, and so I was going to visit her. And on the way, I stopped in and hung out with those guys for the day. They treated me so well. Billy and Chris are great guys. Don't tell Chris I'm saying this. Hopefully he's not on because I'd rather rib him. But had an absolute blast with them. The unfortunate thing was while I was there, Chris got in a car accident. It was a pretty bad car accident. And I always feel bad because I don't want him to remember my first visit with him and Billy as his car accident. You know, he picked up a monster card. We had a blast at the show. We just had a ton of fun. I got to see Chris's card room. I got to see Billy's card room and had a blast. But while I was at the show, there was a guy, a dealer that I believe his name was Jason, same as mine, that Chris knew, and he was selling a lot of real nice raw cards. So when I have this card, I kind of think of that particular outing. It's my 1952 Enos Slaughter, and I bought it ungraded. Just a beautiful card, you know, as a 52, most 52s are, iconic set. But I bought this ungraded, got a great deal on it because of Chris and Chris knowing the dealer, and had it graded and ended up getting a 3.5, which I'm thrilled with. But it's one of several cards from that particular outing that, you know, kind of brings back that memory. I got to see Tom and Coop and all of his buddies. Another buddy of Chris's who has since unfortunately passed away. I got to meet him before that happened, so that was very cool too. But I had a blast with those guys. I need to go out there again. The plan was possibly to go out there in May, but with Strongsville happening and everything that I've got going on in May in this month, I won't have the chance to get out there. So
Right. Love the card. And that's a card now that, like, whenever I see it, I think of you because I've seen you show it a number of times. And
yeah,
like, you know, it's a definite standout card for sure.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? And actually, we talk about Hall of Famers who don't get the love. He's another one that might not get as much love and has a fantastic run. You know, if you're familiar with like the Rodeo Meat set, it's a pretty scarce set, pretty tough to find. He's the only Hall of Famer in it.
Right.
You know, there's a lot. He's part of the Wilson Frank set. I think he was with the Yankees at that point in time. I think he's in a Yankee uniform, but he's in a lot of those scarce sets. Hunter Wieners, you know, the Musial and the Shane Deese and the Enid, all of those are expensive, you know, and they're usually pretty well loved because of, you know, how they came and, you know, what, you know, they were hand cut and all that good stuff. But he's in a lot of great sets and has a lot of great cards.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, we're coming up on 5 minutes left. Let's do a lightning round with whatever cards you got left. Andrew, start with you. All right. Fantastic. I love it. Just show the card.
Yeah.
We don't even need to hear anything. Jay.
Gift for my wife last year for Christmas. She doesn't know much about cards, but she knows I love Boog Powell, and she thought it was awesome that he shared a card with Mickey Mantle. So
yeah, definitely.
That went up for me.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right.
Gift from my buddy, my good friend Tony, Southern Collector. He said he had something for me. When this showed up, my jaw hit the floor. Beautiful card.
That's a fantastic card. Yeah.
Beautiful card.
All right, Andrew, back to you. Hey, another Matty.
Great card. Love that
You can
card.
see, I mean, you can see it's rough edges, but you know,
Doesn't
no
matter.
creases.
It doesn't matter. That's a beautiful card.
It's a great card. That's all that matters. Jay.
I'm going to break my rule real quick on this one. I'm showing a non-vintage, but my son's in the chat, so I know he's watching. This was a gift from him
nice.
for Christmas.
That's
Great
a
card.
gift.
Yep.
Nice. That'll be vintage soon enough.
Yes, it will be. Gift from my friend, Mr. Chris from Missouri. This was the same outing as when I picked up the Enos Slaughter. Larry Doby wearing the correct uniform.
I'll throw up a couple cards real quick.
Yeah.
Sitting here. City
Good
Baseball.
one. Good one.
Yes, beautiful card. Yeah, okay. That's a biggie.
Lovely card, right?
Iconic.
Awesome.
Possibly the most iconic card in baseball.
I would say so.
Yeah, one of the top three, you know, arguably.
Yeah. Awesome.
Whoops. Any last cards, guys?
I got a couple Jackies here.
Yeah.
Never go wrong with that.
Mm.
You know, it's his last card and probably my favorite. I love that card.
Yeah, it is nice.
Real nice.
And 54.
Great card.
Sweet.
I'll throw this one up just for, there you go, Andrew, Phillies fan. This is my Schmidt rookie. That's my first big purchase. Was hunting that one down, trying to finish up my 73. Not done yet, but at least the big one's out of the way.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. All right, my last one.
Yeah.
It's my well-loved 1970 Hank Aaron. I bought it from a kid in 6th grade. He had a shoebox of baseball cards. This was in it, and I still have it. So, paper loss, kind of weathered. Looks like it got wet at some point in time.
High character.
But exactly right. Well loved, right? So,
Jason, do you have the Mini Minoso handy? Because I can't find mine.
mine is coming. I'm picking mine up this week.
Oh, was it getting graded or?
Mine was autographed. So
That's right.
yeah. So it's coming. Yeah, I wish I had it. I think I sent you the picture, right? You and
Yes.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually picking it up this week. So
You can dream about it, Scott. Okay.
yes, and I will say this now that we're still on this episode, and I don't want to jump the gun. We do need to do an episode soon of the ugliest card. That needs to happen again.
Oh yeah.
that was well received, and
yeah, we've all got strong opinions, and
right,
and some of them being very controversial.
but Scott needs to be on it, and if Scott's on it, I want to be on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. I totally agree with Mookie. Andrew, Jason, and Jay, thank you all for sharing your cards and your stories tonight. Andrew, it might be time. I don't know. It's up to you, but it might be time for a channel. You should think about it.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
The channel name's the first battle, and you've already got it right
Yeah, yeah. That's more than half the battle. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this live stream about nothing, give it a thumbs up. Check out For Collectors at 9 p.m. We'll see you next Sunday night. Have a great night, everybody.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See you guys.